Hey gang, today I want to share with you two things that were really breakthrough moments for me in terms of my guitar playing when I really learned the Wind Cries Mary. And no, I'm actually not talking about that Hendrix rhythm style. It was just so incredible that he did. Although, yeah, the Wind Cries Mary is a really awesome song to learn that too, because it's a simple one where he does that. But anyway, I'm talking about his solo style. Now this solo has two simple notions or ideas that you can use if you're crafting a solo or if you're improvising that'll make your solos better and actually easier to do as well. Now I wouldn't say that Wind Cries Mary is typical of Hendrix's lead style. I would say more typical would be things like Voodoo Child or Machine Gun, and I find that really kind of difficult to cop and get down. I think it's because of the tone and the bends and the note choice is not natural for me, and also that amazing timing that he had, being able to come in and out of time very fluidly. I find that just very difficult to cop. But Wind Cries Mary is a little bit different, and it threw me for a loop in a different way, and I think it's because the chords and the changes in it. If you were like me, when I was growing up and when I was cutting my teeth on guitar, I cut it on Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, things like I Can't Quit You Baby, of course Whole Lotta Love, Stranglehold, Ted Nugent, Stranglehold, ZZ Top's, LaGrange, stuff like that. All great solos, but the changes are really simple. And basically I played the game, which I think many of you do, and I still do once in a while, is like, hey man, what's the scale? So I fit the scale over it, and then I just wail on the scale, and it's a way of not thinking, right? And not that those are bad solos at all. I think they're really cool solos. But if you think about all the ones I named, you know, it's all minor pentatonic, right? And it's kind of lick-based. It kind of meanders around. So Wind Cries Mary was really different, and it really made an impression on me. So what are the things that just hit me like a ton of bricks after learning this lesson? Well, I'll tell you, but I'll also apply this at the end of the video, so make sure you watch through to the end to see how easy it is to apply this. It's really not that hard. So, number one, the first thing, unlike a lot of the other solos, this really has a theme. Let me demonstrate. I'll play the solo and you'll pick up the theme right away. So, I don't know if this is note for note, but it's probably pretty close. Anyway, it's in the key of F. Sounds kind of like this. And now, and I don't know if that was exact, but I think it was pretty close. And what was really neat about it, I hope you heard the theme, it's this. Now that's used all over the first part of the solo and actually over the second half of the solo as well, or second part of the solo as well. But in particular, the first 3 times through that stuff, he plays basically that lick. And it's a pretty simple theme too. It's based on a triad, and more on that a little bit later, but the triad is, it's just an F chord, okay? So on the G string, remember your little guy F that you probably learned a long time ago. Your little guy F you got on the G string, you're gonna play 2, beat 1, E1, and then you're just gonna bring that up a whole octave, right? And then play something that's based off that. You can hear it's based off of that chord. All right, so that's the first part, have a theme. The second thing I took from this solo, and this really had a big impact on me, was that Jimi played to the chord. He didn't simply play scales. And why is that important? Well, if you think about it, the beginning part, that's fine. You could pick a scale, and I'll show you what that is. So the chords are basically an F major to an E flat to a B flat 3 times. And of course, he didn't play that. He played something like... something like that, or much better actually. So, but anyway, those are the basic chords. So for that, I could play a B major scale, or keeping in the spirit of pentatonics, I could play a F major pentatonic. That'd sound perfectly good. So I'm all set for that beginning stuff. I can think F major pentatonic, just wail on that scale, not think autopilot. Uh-oh, now it goes to the G. What do I do? Well, I could go to a G major pentatonic. There I go. Okay, whatever, I could do that. Now it goes to a B flat. Okay, you see the problem here? I could go at this point to a B flat major pentatonic. But now it goes to this, which is a D flat or a C sharp. And again, I have to change the pentatonic. You know, I could figure out where all these things are in a particular place in the scale and do that and play that. Back then, I don't know if I was capable of it, honestly. Having said that, Hendrix had a really simple solution, and it sounds great. Just do the same thing, play to the chord. So instead of the, he played something that was very similar over that G. See, here's my G right here on the 15th fret, right? That's a whole octave up from that. Here's what he did. Again, similar theme, just a little bit different. Now the B flat. He plays a little bit more different than the first one was, but still just based on that same sort of lick. Now finally, over the C sharp, he plays a C sharp minor pentatonic. So he finally plays a minor pentatonic line, and now we're back to F. And he plays his. So he really played to the chords there, and that actually makes life easy. You don't have to be thinking scales all the time. Sometimes you can just think chords, play your licks, move them to the chords, the places that you already know, and it works really well. All right, let me do a simple application of this. Now, let me just play a little blues. We'll play a blues in A, and I'll show you how simple it is to do this, okay? So be mindful of the chords and have a theme. I'll show it to you, then we'll break it down just a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so really simple. 3 chords. We've got an A7 chord, and I'm just doing a little vamp there, right? But you can just think of that as over an A7. And then we've got a D, and our E, of course. So it's just straight blues, right? So over the A, I did A-like things. Here's my theme. So I'm just going to come to this root right here. That's my theme, right? So I'm noticing it works over the A because I'm ending on the A. Now we go to the D. So I just played something that was very similar, right? I could have played, or I could have just played this, in fact, because that note is in a D chord. See, I'm being mindful of the chord and aware of the theme as well. I'm keeping it very similar. In this case, I did change it, and I played. Okay, now I'm going back to this one, to the A. I just thought instead of going this, I just play, just kind of end on that A with a little bend. Now I'm coming up to an E, so I'm just going to play something, alter this lick a little bit. If I played that, it's probably going to clash with this E chord. It might be okay, but playing a note that's in the chord is a good bet. So I just changed that. Instead of playing this, I played this. Now over the D, I do the same thing that I did for the E, but I move it down. Just move it down 2 frets. And now I'm just going to do a lick that's in an A minor pentatonic scale or a Mixolydian scale or whatever. It's a lick that I know. That's just an A lick that I know because I'm back in A. All right? That's it. So using that theme and being aware of the chords, even though it's a straight blues, it's not the only way I could play. I could have obviously just played. I could have played that to solo over it, or I could have used major pentatonic or Mixolydian scale. Doesn't really matter, but this made it really easy for me to craft something that was kind of interesting, but not hard at all. So that's it for today. No note for note, just a thinking video, right? 2 notions that can help you craft or improvise solos a little bit better. Just listening to people who are really good at this makes a big difference too. I'm just going to point this out. If you listen to Peter Frampton on his Frampton Comes Alive, he is one of the most thematic players. He uses themes all the time. A great example is the Lines on My Face solo, one of the most beautiful solos out there. So check that one out if anything else. But yeah, the 2 things that can help you out here, number 1, have a theme to your solo, and that could be anything. It could be a lick, it could be a rhythmic element, or a melody element. And number 2, think about the chords. Play to the chords. Sometimes that's so much simpler and easier and more powerful than thinking about what scale do I play over. All right, that's it. Until next time, we will see you on down the road.